Yep, I'm ready.
Turning on the mic. Go ahead.
Test. 1, 2, 3. Oh, what?
You're good.
Oh, I'm good. Oh, sick. What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of This Week in Sports. It is your lovely host, Romeo Sharp, today. And you know what? There's been a really wild debate going on these last couple days. Has nothing to do with sports, by the way, but it's literally, we have this weird debate of, 100 men versus one silverback gorilla. I don't know where this even came from. I don't know why people just started thinking about this, but you know how the internet goes and how, everyone, their thought process is when it, and like I talked to a couple folks about it and really got their opinion on what they think, and a lot of people that I've talked to truly believe that 100 men versus a gorilla, it won't favor the gorilla at all. Which now, okay, after doing some extensive research and thinking more so about it, I truly think because first of all, a silverback gorilla is probably 400, a fully grown silverback gorilla, 400 to 500 pounds, and it lives like 10 times its body weight in general. So just thinking about that, it really has me thinking that, there's like, if we look at the casualties, like first of all, it will take probably 20 men that can at least amount or maybe even kind of get close to the strength of a silverback gorilla. So just thinking about it, I don't think the silverback gorilla will get overwhelmed eventually, but I truly don't think I don't think the silverback gorilla will actually be favored after maybe taking out 50 plus people already. So, and it just has me thinking, let's take it into a football realm too, like, because we're average humans, most of us. Let's look at the freak athletes, like in the sports world. Like, what do you think? I'm thinking maybe 25 LeBrons could probably take on a silverback gorilla. If we take Aaron Donald, that man from the Rams legend right there, I think you could probably get 20 Aaron Donalds and they could probably take down a silverback gorilla. Like, those are just some examples, I think, you know what I'm saying? So just looking at this whole debate,
I think this dude can do it.
Oh, Mark Henry?
Yeah, I think Mark Henry did it.
Oh, how many Mark Henrys do you think?
Probably like two.
Two Mark Henrys versus a silverback gorilla? Them silverback gorilla hands are huge. All they gotta do is swipe. One swipe at Mark Henry, he's cooked. His jaw's cracked. But yeah, so I think it was a funny debate to kind of see what everyone was thinking about in terms of this this wild debate of 100 humans versus a silverback gorilla. There's other scenarios too. Another one is 100 men versus a rhinoceros. That won't fare well at all. The rhinoceros, first of all, is a body of armor, and then also just overall, it's gonna just trample through everyone. So that won't fare well at all. So just seeing all that was really it really piqued my interest too, because I went on ChatGPT. I was asking everyone else, like, what do you think? And it was interesting to say the least, for sure. But with all that, y'all, let's get into what was a really interesting weekend in terms of sports, for sure. Mainly, let's talk about this NFL draft that happened. First thing first, he finally got picked, y'all. It took 3 days, but with the 144th pick in the 5th round of the 2025 NFL draft, the Cleveland Browns, they officially select Shedeur Sanders. Now, I spoke on the Shedeur Sanders and what was going on throughout at least day one. So on Friday, I spoke about it on day one, what was going on, why he didn't get selected. Now, my initial thoughts were, these teams, they wanted to address their needs first and be able to just be able to address some pressing needs first, and then possibly go and get Shedeur in this second round. Now, the Cleveland Browns, they had the first pick in day two, and they passed up on Shedeur. So let's just kind of, and I don't want to take away from, and this took majority of the spotlight this draft season, y'all. And just seeing Shedeur get picked. He was a 6th quarterback taken in this NFL draft this year, y'all. And just seeing that happen to him, the process leading up to it, I think he actually acknowledged it himself, y'all. So just going into this, he acknowledged the process that he could have done it a little bit better because he skipped out in the NFL, the combine as well. And, let's just go look into some other factors as well, like his father. So Deion Sanders, he even went out and stated that he doesn't want Shedeur to play for these certain teams, and he raved and gave his opinion, thinking Shedeur was a top 5 pick, a top 5 lock, that is, and just, Deion's just doing, I think, what any father would probably do in terms of their son. And, because we have multiple, examples of this, one of them being like LeVar Ball, like not too long ago, with all 3 of his sons. Now, LaMelo's panning out. Lonzo, he's getting back into the flow of things as well. And then LeAngelo, like, he's doing music now. So, but, just seeing what was going on with Shedeur and how this process came about, a lot of people were talking about him being arrogant and just being cocky, and just like, it was a humbling experience for him for sure. And then if we look at it, let's look at it, y'all. And then when he got drafted, he was the second quarterback taken by the Cleveland Browns, actually, by the way. The first quarterback was Dylan Gabriel. And so I'm just like thinking, why would they, like, what were the Cleveland Browns doing? Like, they might as well have just took him. I don't know if they were trying to, teach him a lesson or anything like that, but it was definitely like a humbling experience for Shedeur. As soon as he got drafted, I feel like, and like I said, he has a lot to prove. He has a lot to prove now. And at the end of the day, though, it doesn't really matter where you get picked, because if you're a dog and you got that dog in you, you're going to show out. And one of the things that's been coming out in the air is like the Tom Brady comparison, but I think it's completely invalid in that sense of the Shedeur situation, because Tom Brady wasn't looked at as a first round quarterback, second round. Like, he was a backup for a majority of his career at Michigan, and then in his last year, obviously he showed out. But no one looked at Tom Brady in college the way they looked at Shedeur. Now, Shedeur was highly touted, but when the season started, we thought he was the top prospect in this NFL draft, alongside with Travis Hunter as well. And I don't want to distract what the quarterbacks taken before him, Cam Ward, well deserving. There's an argument being made that, maybe Cam Ward could have been, obviously Cam Ward is the best quarterback in this draft for sure. He more athletic than him and has a stronger arm than Shedeur. And then there could be an argument made that Jackson Dart is a little bit better than him as well. But when we look at the other quarterbacks taken in this draft, I can't see an argument being truly made. Maybe Jalen Milroe, who was another quarterback taken off the board before Shedeur, but looking overall and looking at it from a wider spectrum, I've watched all of college football last year, y'all, and I promise you, while watching this upcoming this season that just came and went, I don't remember anyone telling me that they thought Dylan Gabriel, Tyler Shugg, any of these guys like that, thinking that they were better than Shedeur. And like I said, I don't know if it came down to, his dad and what his dad did in terms of, raving about his son, and then the comments he made. And then obviously Shedeur, they said that he bombed his interview with the Cleveland Browns and possibly the New York Giants and stuff like that. There's a lot of things that went into this. But this whole process, y'all, what was it? He even got a prank call as well, but also other players did too. We're not going to dismiss it. Like Colin McCord, he actually stated earlier, like 5 minutes ago, he reported that he was receiving multiple prank calls in terms of what teams thinking that he was going to get picked, and he didn't get picked till the 6th round, so by the Philadelphia Eagles. But we found out that the prank call was for Shedeur was Jeff Ulbricht's son, the Falcons defensive coordinator. His son was the one who was behind it. And since then, both the Falcons and the son, they issued an apology to Shedeur. But honestly, through it all, y'all, I truly think Shedeur handled it with poise and remained super confident at the end of the day. And before we get into anything else, I do want to reach out to one of my closest friends right now, and he's a Raiders fan, y'all. So I want to see where his head's at, because he in this draft, he I felt like this team needed a quarterback as well, and I kind of just want to get his thoughts and his opinions on why the Raiders passed up on Shedeur, and then also why, just his opinion on the NFL draft as well. So,
One sec, hold on.
what's up, Jaron?
Sorry, I was doing some work shit. Hello.
Mike's right there.
Oh no, you good, you good. Now I wanted to call you, bro, because I'm live right now. I'm live streaming right now, and I just wanted to get your thoughts on this whole Shedeur situation. And I know you're a Las Vegas Raiders fan, and I felt like that was a player that I think the Raiders could have probably gotten, even though and sit behind Geno Smith, and they kind of just they went a different direction in terms of that. And I just want to get your opinion on how you felt about the Raiders passing up on Shedeur, and then just overall your opinion on the Raiders draft this year.
For sure. Well, as far as Shedeur goes, I might be the odd man out, but I don't think he necessarily needed to be drafted by the Raiders. No, I'm on the phone, sir. I'm sorry, one second. I don't think he necessarily should have been drafted by the Raiders. You got Geno Smith tied up for 3 years. That's like what? It was like $80, $90 million.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you waste a draft pick on a quarterback that's only going to make him feel less comfortable? We want Geno to perform at the best level he can, at the highest level he can. What happened when Green Bay went ahead and drafted Jordan Love in the first round instead of helping Aaron Rodgers? That nigga was gone.
Yeah.
The next year or two,
Mm-hmm.
gone. So you got to use those draft picks to help him, which is exactly what we did. I'm not tripping off of not getting Shedeur because you're tied into a man who's going to be the starting quarterback. If Shedeur came in and played over him, then what did we spend $90 million on? If we're going to expect Shedeur to take his spot, what did we spend $90 million on? We could have went and got a bridge quarterback that would have been way cheaper and then drafted Shedeur. So, I mean, I'm not tripping off that. And I hope Geno can just play football. That's all I need him to do is play football.
Definitely.
As far as the draft goes, it was great. It was perfect. I don't think the Raiders could have did any better, honestly. You get Genty, best running back in the draft. 2 great physical wide receivers, both 6'2" and up. One's 6'5", runs a 4.3. That's fucking amazing. And then you picked up linemen, you picked up linebackers, defensive tackles, edge rushers, all people we need. I don't think that it could have went any better for us.
I like the way you kind of described that too. Now, in terms of like Shedeur, do you think I think it seems like you think if the Raiders would have drafted Shedeur, you think he would have probably been a distraction and, like you said, probably throw Geno Smith off his game?
100%, because you got his dad, all the family, all the news and media coverage. Now it's going to be okay. We've got Geno and we got Shedeur. How long until Shedeur plays? It just puts unnecessary pressure on Geno Smith. We just want him to go out there and win games for us.
That's reasonable. And then my last question for you, Jaron, and then I'm going to let you go, partner, is do you believe, now with this draft happening and then with free agency, so we're wrapping up the offseason pretty quickly. Do you think that with all these signings and additions for the Raiders, do you think they got enough tools in the bag to possibly make it out the AFC West?
Fuck no. The Raiders have gotten significantly better. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. They got way better. But we're still in a division with Patrick Mahomes, the Broncos defense, and fucking Justin Herbert and John Harbaugh. Like, this is the best division in football. You can't say just based solely on the draft that they're going to win the division or even make the playoffs. We got to see how they play. Just got to see how they play.
No,
We're going to need a lot of young help. We're going to need help from all these young niggas if we're going to be remotely good, and we got to see how they transition.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I understand where you come from that. And then, obviously because I'm a Broncos fan too, and I might be a little delusional here because I think Denver now has a they got a pretty good shot at winning the AFC West now because I truly believe so I think they truly have what it takes to, dethrone the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC West. Am I crazy for saying that, Jared?
It's not the worst thing to say. You guys would probably be my second best, the second best team in the division, in my opinion. But you never bet against Patrick Mahomes. I mean, you can't. You just cannot. And especially in the regular season, that team's always going to be at the top until Mahomes is gone, in my opinion. But the only thing with Broncos just got to worry about the sophomore bullshit that some of these quarterbacks go through. If Bo Nix stays, if Bo Nix progresses and gets better, then yeah, you guys could win the division. If he stays the same, you know, he doesn't really make any improvements. You guys will be the same team you were last year. If he regresses somehow, you're fucked. But I mean, I think it's all on Bo Nix. That's really what it is.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. I think it all just gonna come down to how Bo Nix plays this year, and then you know, and everything that goes along with that as well. So, and like I said, you know, I think the Raiders definitely missed out on Shedeur. I think he's gonna make y'all pay for that, Jaron. I ain't gonna lie, but I'm gonna wrap this up though. With you, Jaron, can you just give me your final thoughts on Shedeur and where you think what his future looks like with the Browns?
Oh man, I was talking about this earlier with my dad. It's going to be a quarterback competition between him and Dylan Gabriel. Whoever wins it is probably going to sit during the preseason, not going to play. They're gonna get the other quarterback. Oh my goodness, they're going to get the other quarterback stock up. They're going to trade one of these guys. They're going to have to. And maybe Shedeur. I don't think so. But one of these guys got to go. I mean, what point does it make to draft two quarterbacks in the 3rd and 5th round?
No, but yeah.
Shedeur starts and Dylan Gabriel gone.
And you know what? And I appreciate, you know, like I said, thank you, Jaron. I really appreciate you answering this call and just like giving me your thoughts and opinions on this, man. You know, good luck to the Raiders this year. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully your Lakers pull through in this series with the Timberwolves as well, partner.
Wow, I can't believe you just brought that up.
But hey, man, I'm gonna let you go though, brother. I'm gonna reach out to you soon, okay? All right, twin them. See you later.
All right.
Y'all, I'm gonna be honest with you, the Raiders are dog shit. But you know, the Raiders are dog shit. Jaron, if you're still listening to this, brother, you guys are fighting for last place in the AFC West, okay, brother? I know you got Ashton Genty, and I know you got Geno Smith, but that ain't gonna be enough. That Denver defense is coming. That Denver D coming, buddy. So also, y'all, I'm gonna actually call another one of my friends real quick. Now he's a Saints fan, y'all, and let me just give y'all a disclaimer. This man is probably about to go off right now. So once we get him on this phone, y'all, we're gonna really get his raw thoughts about his New Orleans Saints. What's up, Dan? Hello. What's up, my man? Look, so I'm live right now. I'm live streaming right now, and I just wanted to call you. And first of all, I just want to get your thoughts on Shedeur Sanders and him getting passed, and the Saints passing on him multiple times in this draft. Give me your thoughts real quick about that.
Well, Fallon Moore and Mickey Mouse, they love to ruin the team for the past, since 2018. I'll say passing on Shedeur was fucking stupid. Taking that quarterback in the 2nd round was fucking stupid. They think they got the next Josh Allen just because he's 6'5", 220. The guy had 7 fucking years in college, so they think he's the most ready guy. Like, does it not make sense? Like, this guy's taken more tests than anybody in the whole fucking NFL. More college years than anybody, and they say, let's take him, he's the most prepared. No, he had fucking injury after injury every year. That's why he had so many fucking seasons. Passing on Shedeur Sanders because they think he's not ready or he's cocky, but some dude that's fucking injury after injury is more prepared. I would rather have Jalen Milroe, Dylan Gabriel, anybody but this fucking guy. And I'm not saying he's terrible. He can fucking pop out and throw a couple passes. Great for him. Motherfucker, we need generational talent, bro. Hey, Derek Carr's shoulder's injured. We need another dude who can play this fuck. What are we doing here? What are we doing? Everything first round pick. Yeah. That'd be blessed. Because that was one of the best tackles, if not the best tackle in the draft. Now, I will say this. Why the fuck would we talk about taking Jackson Dart, Jalen or Shedeur Sanders the whole time, and then just throw the fucking Saints Sanders a curveball and pick some fucking piece of And I'm sorry to the dude's family and all that, because I know this nigga's gonna be like, and he's gonna get death threats and everything. And it's not me. It's not gonna be me behind it. But I will say this. The best part of the fucking draft came from when we got Neil, Danny, and Quincy probably.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, why the fuck are we picking up? Actually, the defensive tackle from Texas, also another run stopper, he's pretty good. But did we only fucking scout the Midwest? We got fucking Texas, Louisville, Kansas, Oklahoma play. The only player out of the fucking range is like Virginia and UCLA. Other than that, everybody came from the fucking Midwest. Who's our scouting team? Honestly. Let me see the scout reports, honestly. And what the fuck are they doing? Mickey Mouse and fucking Felon Moore, bro. I promise you, they ruined this team. I will say we did not need fucking extra D line right now though. We needed fucking pure good receiver to help out Chris Olave that isn't fucking 35-year-old Brandon Cooks. We got Rashid Shaheed that's, kind of return balls and catch deep balls. He's getting injured now. We got Pettis. Like, bro, we need a fucking receiver. What are we doing? We went and got Moochie? Undrafted? Like, bro.
All right. Hey, D-Goons.
On a lot.
But also, I got another question for you, partner. I got another question for you now. Me being a Broncos fan and you being a Saints fan, you're going through something that I, as a Broncos fan, have been going through probably for the last 7-8 years in terms of this quarterback carousel, grabbing quarterbacks and just, they're not panning out, or grabbing veteran guys that are already washed up, and like Joe Flacco, Russ, getting Teddy Bridgewater and stuff like that. Now, and you talked about it. You talked to me about it in terms of your guys' draft. Now, you guys haven't drafted really good quarterbacks as of late. You got Spencer Rattler. You got Jake Heiner. You got Ian Book not too long ago. Trevor Siemian. What are your thoughts right now of just this quarterback carousel that you're going through?
Honestly, I will blame it on the staff, because there's a lot of talent out there. There's no need to be going fucking in a circle with dumbass, shitty-ass quarterbacks. And let me tell you another thing. We had a Teddy Bridgewater and Winston, 2 seasons that were good. Injuries play a role, but we had 2 quarterbacks that showed they could fucking play for this team. And we want to go get a Derek Carr, a Ben DiNucci, a Jake, a fucking Tyler. And I will tell you this. We waste so many fucking picks, bro. Did you know in like the last 5 years or 6 years or something like that, we pretty much only gotten offensive linemen with our first pick? Thanks, Saints. We really are protecting a quarterback. We don't even have a nigga to protect. Why the fuck, bro? What the fuck?
Oh.
We don't have a nigga to protect. We're wasting picks on O-linemen. Like, okay, so what? We're building the front wall first for the next 7 years, and then we're gonna start with the backfield and that. Like, no, what is this, bro? These guys put us in fucking generational hell with this.
Well,
Dog shit. We should have never wasted a pick on that. We should have never wasted money on fucking anything like that either.
No, I
DiNucci, all that.
I get where you're coming from, Dan. I truly do, brother. Now, with this draft that just happened, and also just moving forward with any signings that you guys had this offseason as well, my next question for you is, what's next for the New Orleans Saints? What do you think? What's your prediction for this upcoming season for them?
A fucking 4-win season and prayers. That's about it. You're telling me we got fucking Derek Carr Sunday service preaching about his injury. I don't know if you've seen that. Derek Carr was literally at church on mic talking about his injury. Get the fuck out of here, bro. So we know for a fact it's going to be a Tyler or a Spencer Rattler fucking little competition, and neither of them are going to be good enough to fucking get more than 8 wins, bro. If we do get 8 wins, it's going to be because of defense or other key players, skilled players. It's not going to be because the fucking quarterback's slinging the rock, bro. I promise you.
Yeah, most definitely.
And he's not good. Look at Tyler. The dude's not he's not mobile. He has to be in the pocket. When the pocket collapses, he looks like a little bitch, not a 6'5", 220 nigga. When the pocket collapses, nigga spooked.
Most definitely.
Dumb shit. Nigga gets sacked. So they say, hey, let's build a line and get a shitty quarterback that can't even stay fucking in the pocket too long or he's going to get scared. What's the point of that?
All right, well, Dan, I got one last question for you, and this just kind of goes back to Shedeur himself. Now, with him getting picked up by the Browns, what do you think his future looks like with the Browns?
He is going to have a competition with Dylan. So whoever's the better of the two is probably going to stay, obviously. I do think if they give him a shot first, he'll probably prove more.
Mm-hmm.
But if they give Dylan Gabriel a shot first and he just does a thing, I don't know how it, you know.
Most definitely, man.
I don't know how they're going to keep two of those guys together.
Most definitely.
It's possible.
Now, hey, Dan, I want to appreciate you for answering and just giving me your raw and unfiltered thoughts about your New Orleans Saints, man. Good luck to them this season. Hopefully, they can squeeze out those 5 wins, hopefully, for you. Hopefully 5 wins.
Hopefully
Maybe Arch Manny's in their future. But, hey, man, I'm going to let you go, though, so I can continue on. And, like I said, I'll hit you up later, partner. All right, then. Have a good one.
Yep.
Yo, that was Dan right there with his unfiltered thoughts about the New Orleans Saints. And just going back on Shedeur, y'all, we'll wrap up this whole Shedeur thing because there is a lot of other players that got picked up and they deserve the recognition as well. I don't want to give all the spotlight to Shedeur, but just speaking, I want to give my opinions on his future with the Browns as well. I truly believe his future with the Browns, like I said, I believe there will be a competition. So their quarterbacks on their roster, they got Joe Flacco, they got Kenny Pickett, they got Dylan Gabriel, and they got Shedeur. Deshaun Watson's out the picture because he injured his Achilles again, so he's out for the season. He's probably not going to be in a Cleveland Brown uniform at the beginning of the year. But, also, I forgot to mention that I was fighting for my life for Shedeur. And, on my recent TikTok, of This Week in Sports Pod. So on that TikTok, and if you've seen the recent episode, I spoke on Shedeur and the reasoning behind all of his, him sliding and dropping all the way to day 3 and waiting 3 days. But if you guys make sure you guys do me a favor and check out my recent clip of This Week in Sports Pod on my TikTok, where I do speak on Shedeur, prior to him getting picked up, and I think it had over 100 comments, y'all. And I had a lot of people just saying, "Oh, he's arrogant, he's cocky, it's his dad's fault, this, and that," and just just they were bashing this man and just calling him out for what he did. And like I said, he took all this and he handled it with poise and confidence, y'all. And I really truly believe, with Shedeur now being on the Cleveland Browns, he's going to be fighting for a roster spot for sure. I think he will be the second best quarterback on that roster by the end of July, beginning of August when a preseason starts. He has a great mentor in Joe Flacco for sure, who is 40 years old himself, and so just overall, we'll see where Cleveland goes from here with Shedeur, y'all. So, but enough about that. We have to move on because there is other, we can't take the spotlight from other players. The rest of day 2 and day 3, the picks as well. There was a lot of wholesome moments and interactions in day 2 and day 3 in terms of players getting selected and all that. The first player that came to mind in terms of just a wholesome moment was Jack Beck, y'all. The wide receiver out of TCU, he was selected in the second round by the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, the wholesomeness, the reason why I brought him up, and if you're not familiar with Jack Beck, the reason why he's on this list of my most wholesome interactions is because with him, if you're not familiar, his brother was senselessly killed in a terrorist attack in New Orleans on New Year's Eve, and in the Senior Bowl as well, he went out there and he had the game-winning touchdown as well for his brother Tiger, and so just he was dealing with that, and it's just the emotions that he had, and just being around all his family, and then being, like I said, he made it to the second round. Got picked up pretty early, and the Raiders seen something out of him, and just like I said, that was just like a very wholesome moment for him, and shout out to Jack Beck. And my condolences to him and his brother and stuff like that. And just seeing, like I said, the raw emotions. He is a really good wide receiver as well. He's a big guy. Probably could be one of Geno Smith's favorite targets probably by the end of this season. Hopefully. But just looking at this, like one of my most wholesome moments as well. And another guy actually is the edge rusher out of Texas. We have Baron Sorrell. Now Baron, he waited in the green room in Green Bay for 3 days. For 3 days to get his name called. And because I think he said, and no one actually knew, obviously besides his family, no one actually knew that he was, that he was in Green Bay, not even Green Bay themselves. So he was in there for 3 days, and you know who made the call for him? It was Roger Goodell. So Roger Goodell told him that he'll wait for him and wait until his name gets picked. And he was selected in the 4th round by the Green Bay Packers. And like I said, pretty ironic because it was in Green Bay. So him being able to have that happen to him, he was greeted by a rain of cheers as well. So just seeing that was just flat out amazing, y'all. So, and now with all the emotions and the wholesome moments and interactions that happened in this draft, I kind of want to go over my favorite picks as well that happened in day 2 and day 3 of the NFL draft. My first one being, now I had this guy in my mock draft. I had him going, I believe it was like 16th, 17th. I had him in the 1st round. He slid, and I believe the reason why he slid, I think he did have some character issues himself. But the guy I'm talking about is Mike Green. Now Mike Green, as I mentioned before, he led the nation in sacks last season. He was the Sun Belt Player of the Year for Marshall, and just seeing him getting picked up by the Ravens, which this is a pure. I really like this pick for the Ravens too, because like I said, he knows how to get to the quarterback. He is very tenacious in that sense, and he's very happy-go-lucky kind of guy who has a really good motor to him. Now again, I think they said it was a character issue, so that's the reason why he fell so much to the 2nd round to the Baltimore Ravens. But they fell in their lap, and the Baltimore Ravens, like, their team that they are built on their defense, and seeing him get picked up by them, it was one of my favorite picks for sure. Now my next favorite pick. And this guy was I thought this guy was going in the top 10. I thought the Raiders were going to get this guy. We're talking about my boy, Will Johnson, the cornerback out of Michigan. He was seen highly by a lot of NFL scouts prior to his injury last season, and seeing him, he was one of the top corners in the FBS, y'all. I promise you, he was locking down receivers all across the board. And just him getting injured, though, I think, like I said, and it's warranted here because a lot of players who do get injured, a lot of teams aren't willing to take a chance on him. But Arizona did, and the Cardinals, they're a team that been needing a corner. They need a corner since Patrick Peterson. They've been needing a corner that is very, and he got the tangibles like that. And Will Johnson, I believe, healthy, will be one of the best corners in this league moving forward. So, and again, the Cardinals, they took that chance on him. Now, another one of my favorite picks is from the Houston Texans. Now, the Houston Texans in the 2nd round, they double dipped in round 2 and round 3 for receivers. Now, my biggest thing is I thought they were going to go with offensive linemen because they needed to protect C.J. Stroud. I think I mentioned that they gave up the 3rd or 4th most sacks in the NFL last season, and so unacceptable. Maybe again, everyone thought C.J. Stroud had a down year for sure. But my two guys right here, Jaden Higgins and Jalen Knowles, which are teammates. They're both teammates over at Iowa State. I really like these picks because in terms of the Texans, they did need to address that wide receiver room because with Stephon Diggs leaving, and then with Tank Dell probably not going to be back for maybe majority of the season, they needed to get another guy on the outside next to Nico Collins, and then someone to actually fill in that spot for Tank Dell, and they hit the mark on both of these fellas. Now, Jaden Higgins, he was the 34th pick. He's a big target. He's a reliable pass catcher, and he can win 50-50 balls. So that's opposite of Nico Collins. And honestly, the crazy thing is, his NFL comparison is actually Nico Collins himself. So it's kind of ironic that the Houston Texans basically got a Nico Collins 2.0, who I believe will definitely strive and really, with C.J. Stroud, with how he plays, one of the best throwers in this league as well. That's going to help out the Houston Texans. And then with Jalen Knowles, he has dangerous speed, and we can definitely see him slotting in at punt returner as well. And like I said, he'll be playing in a slot with Tank Dell's availability up in the air. There's no telling what Jalen Knowles can do too. So seeing Houston pick up these two guys and double dipping, obviously they should have still addressed their offensive issues first, or their offensive line issues first, but besides all that, that's okay. Now, my next favorite guy is Jack Sawyer. He got picked up in the 4th round by the Pittsburgh Steelers, and this is such a Pittsburgh Steelers pick, y'all. If I could have predicted whoever we're gonna pick him up, it definitely would have been the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, like I said, this is another team that builds around their defense, and Jack Sawyer, he's gonna be learning from one of the best edge rushers in T.J. Watt. He also got Alex Highsmith as well, so he's gonna develop very quickly around that defense because, like I said, and he got Cam Hayward, and they also picked up Derek Harmon as well, so they're beefing up that defensive line, y'all. And Jack Sawyer, he's a national champion for Ohio State. He's known for his I think it was an 83-yard fumble return in the semifinals game against Texas to seal the deal for Ohio State. He knows how to get to the quarterback himself. Very nasty, very tenacious guy himself, and just seeing him get picked up by the Pittsburgh Steelers and seeing him. Like I said, this is a pick for sure. This is who I think he knows how to bend the corner for sure, just like T.J. Watt. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, he's got a good mentor in T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith. And like I said, I could see the Steelers being one of those teams leading the league in sacks next year. So, and then my next guy, and this is another guy that I saw going into the 1st round, just based off his skill set. He's a big safety, y'all, and we're talking about. None other than Nick Imawari. Now, Nick Imawari, he got drafted by the Seattle Seahawks. And like I said, just for the Jack Sawyer and the Steelers pick, this pick right here too, just makes so much sense for the Seattle Seahawks. And you know what's funny? As soon as he got drafted in that 2nd round, he actually changed his profile picture to the Legion of Boom. And I can see where his head's at in that sense, and like just seeing him, like I said, he's a big, hard-hitting safety. He has good coverage, and he led University of South Carolina in tackles in 2 of the last 3 seasons, and I can really see him being a perfect fit for Mike McDonald defense in Seattle, because that is a defensive guy himself. And just seeing them pick him up, I really enjoyed this pick right here for the Seattle Seahawks. And like I said, I think moving forward, he's a day 1 starter. They're gonna plug him in, and he's good at covering tight ends. He's reliable to cover in the slot, and again, he is a hard hitter as well. So them picking up a guy like him is gonna be amazing. So, and now one of the other guys who I believe was, I think he was in the Heisman race as well. Really good guy right here. Oh, no, never mind. We're going to talk about R.J. Harvey. Now, R.J. Harvey from Denver picked up. They needed a running back in this draft. I thought in the 1st round they were going to go and pick someone up of that nature, but they went in and got Jahdae Barron, which I still like that pick as well. But with R.J. Harvey, they picked him up in the 2nd round. I really like this pick because, he reminds me, he is a smaller back, but he was UCF's bread and butter right there, because in terms of players, they didn't have, much skill set around UCF, but he's a patient shorter back. He's very patient. He loves to make late cuts, so he's like I said, in terms of patience, like he waits for the hole to be developed. Like I said, he ran one of the fastest 40s as a running back. Ran a 4.4. He can catch passes outside in the backfield as well. And Sean Payton is looking for someone like that, and they can use someone of R.J. Harvey. Because let's be real, y'all. And I'm a Broncos fan, but our running back room is probably the worst running back room in the NFL right now. No disrespect to Jaleel McLaughlin, no disrespect to Audrey Estime, but just these aren't like stellar, running backs. And then just getting R.J. Harvey now, I think he's really gonna he can open up the offense a little bit more for the Denver Broncos. So, and now my next guy, and I talked about him earlier as well, y'all, and I really enjoyed watching his highlights as well. But he went to the division rivals, y'all, and I talked about him, Jalen Royals. He got picked up by the Kansas City Chiefs, and like I said, y'all, this guy, he's 6 foot, but he can make defenders miss. The first defender, like I said, he better watch out because Jalen Royals has the tools and the tangibles to be a really good receiver. And Kansas City, you know, they need a guy, and I don't think they really have a guy over there. I mean, I like Xavier Worthy for sure. He's a speedy guy himself. And then just Rashid Rice. He got injured last year, so him coming back, they got a young and really sprawly receiving core over there in Kansas City. And he's probably gonna pay him well because you got Patrick Mahomes, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So seeing Kansas City reaching and getting this guy, I think, and honestly, y'all, they got him pretty early. I didn't see him going, but they got him pretty early. I believe they got him in the 4th round actually. And let me see, yeah, they got him in the 4th round, the 133rd pick. So seeing them get him. Like I said, I was pretty surprised to see Kansas. Like I said, I think Kansas City needed to address the receiving room for sure, just because with Rashid Rice and all that going on, with his injury, and then Xavier Worthy and all that, they needed to get another speedy guy. And like I said, they just love speed over there in Kansas City. So, but luckily my Denver Broncos got what it takes. So. Now, let me go look. Now, these are all the day 2, day 3 guys that got picked up. Now, let's look at some of our undrafted guys that I think were probably some of my best, my favorite picks. Or my favorite signings. So, Kobe Bryant, the corner out of Kansas, he signed with the Atlanta Falcons. Now, with Kobe Bryant, is that Kobe Bryant? Is that him? Is that him?
No, that's Kobe.
That's
Kobe Bryant.
All right. But, okay, so with Kobe Bryant.
Oh, wrong Kobe Bryant.
So, y'all, Kobe Bryant, what was it? He's one of the first corners that got taken by the Atlanta Falcons for undrafted free agents. Now, I was very surprised about him being undrafted, because Kobe Bryant is a really good, he got long arms. He's a really good, talented corner. He led Kansas. He was one of Kansas's top players over there, and just seeing him get picked up, he's a very, very ball hawking corner. He's very aggressive on the line. He loves to press. He can play zone. And like I said, Kansas has had some really good corners, especially undrafted. As a Broncos fan, I love a Kansas corner. You know, Chris Harris Jr., he's from Kansas. He was undrafted himself. And so I think, and so he has people backing him up. He has Chris Harris Jr. He has Aqib Talib. Aqib Talib went to Kansas as well. Kansas developed some pretty good corners coming out of that program for sure. So seeing them pick up Kobe Bryant, you know, he has something to prove. I can see he can make the roster, and I can see him being a day 1 starter for the Atlanta Falcons. Barring if they do try to trade for Jalen Ramsey or something like that. But I like Kobe Bryant out of Kansas. I think it will pay well for him. So, and another undrafted guy that I really enjoyed was Xavier Restrepo. He is the wide receiver out of Miami. Now, if you guys aren't familiar, Xavier Restrepo, was one of Cam Ward's teammates. So Tennessee went out, and I'm sure Cam Ward had something to, had put his 2 cents in, which is reasonable considering he was the number 1 pick. So seeing Tennessee reunite Cam Ward with one of his favorite weapons out of Miami with Cam Ward in Xavier Restrepo. I like him as a receiver. Obviously, he's still kind of raw. His route running it needs a lot of fine tuning for sure. His hands, he needs to work better on his hands as well in catching. His catching radius, he needs to kind of expand that a little bit more. He is one of a taller receiver as well. But again, that is one of Cam Ward's best, that was one of his favorite targets over Miami. So seeing them pick him up, it was definitely one of my favorite pickups for sure. And then to round out our undrafted guys, let's talk about Shedeur's brother Shiloh, y'all. So this was kind of expected, y'all, for Shiloh. I mean, maybe I kind of seen him maybe going into the 5th or 6th round. Like, he was going to be a late pick for sure. But seeing him drafted, it made sense because once he got, he was playing really well. He was playing really well, Shiloh was, for Colorado. Before I think he broke his wrist or something like that. And after he broke his wrist, he just kind of wasn't the same. He was missing tackles. He was getting burnt from slot guys and tight ends and stuff like that. And you always could see the back of his jersey and seeing Sanders right there. So just, he has some things to work on. But again, he is going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Seeing this guy in Shiloh Sanders, and like I said, in terms of that, and he was so supportive for his brother as well, for Shedeur, and just this whole process as well. And he was receiving a couple. I think he was receiving some prank calls as well for Shiloh Sanders. But I think he's gonna be fighting for a roster spot for sure over there in Tampa Bay. He has some good. He still has some really good players to look up to over there in Tampa Bay. So just, I'm hoping, I can see him possibly being a key contributor on special teams for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So just, and hopefully they flesh out and they really just develop him really well. So shout out to Shiloh. And Deion, at the end of the day, y'all, Deion Sanders won as a father. Both of his sons made it to the NFL, and now we got to just see where they go forward from here. And just kind of speaking on the NFL, there's actually something, it's kind of crazy. There's two guys real quick that I wanted to, that kind of go into like the wacky little news that I found out. So Tez Johnson also got picked up by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now Tez Johnson is 154 pounds, y'all. So he's probably the lightest player to be drafted in the NFL. And then also they got, what was his name? Desmond Watson. And now, if you're not familiar, Desmond Watson is the defensive tackle out of Florida. I think when he came into Florida, he was 400 pounds as a defensive tackle. And I think he gained like 50 pounds leading up to his senior year. So he's the heaviest player in the NFL. Same, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a duality right there. So he's the heaviest man right there. And he also, will be playing alongside Vita Vea. Now, who knows if he'll make the roster, because he's got a lot of things to work on. He is slower, obviously, with all that weight. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have probably one of the heaviest D-lines in the NFL right now with him and Vita Vea. They're both over 400 pounds, respectively. And so that was another one of my wacky, quirky things I seen in this NFL draft, y'all. So that wraps it up. Like I said, all these young men, in terms of the NFL draft, all these young men, their dreams came true. Some of these young men, their dreams came true. It's obviously, if you went undrafted, it's okay. It doesn't stop there because we know a lot of guys that went undrafted that still shined in the NFL, and obviously those late picks, the Tom Brady's of the world, whatever it is. You guys got you got a chip on your shoulder, and that's fine. Just but that's to wrap it up the NFL draft. Congratulate to all those players that got selected, and just moving forward now, the NFL season, the off season's kind of coming to a close now, y'all. Now let's flip a switch real quick. Let's go look over some of let's go to the NBA today, y'all. So I want to give an award update. Now I talked about it last week. I gave my predictions of what some of these players will win, which awards. So we got 3 announcements. We had 3 announcements during the week of some players that won the awards in the NBA. Now we had our Defensive Player of the Year award finalists finally named. And like I said, the 3 finalists were Evan Mobley, Dyson Daniels, and Draymond Green. And again, with Draymond, I feel like he was just kind of plugged in there because Wemby got hurt. If Wemby didn't get hurt, he would have probably won it. But, the Cleveland Cavaliers center, Evan Mobley, he wins Defensive Player of the Year. Like I said, I went into his statistics going into this season and why he definitely deserved it. Like I said, I think him being on the court, he was a difference maker for Cleveland, and he continuously still being a difference maker in these playoffs against the Miami Heat for Evan Mobley. So congratulate to Evan Mobley for winning Defensive Player of the Year. This is well deserved for him, and he's going to get paid. He's definitely going to get paid for that for sure, and shout out to him. I did think Dyson Daniels was going to win, but I don't think this is a snub here by any means. Like I said, I think Evan Mobley definitely deserved that. And then for my sixth man, now I predicted this correctly, y'all. And so Peyton Pritchard from the Boston Celtics, he won Sixth Man of the Year. And like I said, I'm glad they gave him his recognition and gave him his flowers in a sense of, because, you know what I'm saying, he played really well. And he's still, like I said, playing really well for the Boston Celtics, even in the series against the Orlando Magic. So Peyton Pritchard, he's our Sixth Man of the Year. Well deserved for him as well. Now, our Clutch Player of the Year, like I said, I think he was the favorite basically since the beginning of the season. And like I said, it was Jalen Brunson. So Jalen Brunson now is our Clutch Player of the Year. And like I said, that's definitely deserved for him because, like I said, he, in the final 5 minutes of the NBA season, Jalen Brunson really showed out. And it's even showing in this series against the Pistons as well, y'all. And he's playing out of this world against the Pistons right now, and he's really trying to bring New York to that next step. So Jalen Brunson, definitely, like I said, well deserved for Jalen Brunson to win Clutch Player of the Year. So, and now let's talk about let's get a little update in the NBA playoffs so far. Let's go into the first series that got finished up, y'all. The OKC Thunder, they sweep the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, this whole series, it was just complete dominance from the from the Thunder themselves, and just seeing them going in and like I said, utter dominance. I think what was crazy is seeing this game and watching this series. There was a big gap. You could see the gap in terms of, coaching, players, of course, as well, and just seeing, it looks like OKC had a lot of confidence going into this game, a lot of confidence. And I believe, what was it? I think, what was it? Game 3, I believe it was. Game 3, what was it? Ja Morant and company, they were up by as much as 30 points against the Thunder. And so, and I think he gets injured. Now, I don't know if that really, obviously that plays a part, and that probably screwed over, the confidence in the Memphis Grizzlies, but how do you give up a 30-point lead, y'all? And like I said, that just kind of shows like the dynamic and the difference between these two teams. And so they give up a 30-point lead, and then they're down 3-0, and again, like I said, the Thunder, they went in and they swept the Grizzlies, and I predicted this because there was no wasted motion here for the Thunder. If they want to solidify themselves as a top team, you gotta dominate on all sides of the ball. You gotta dominate any team that gets in your way, and they did that. They did that against the Memphis Grizzlies, and so now they got time to rest up and. I just got a text from Jaron, y'all. He just realized that I said his team was ass, but so they get the rest up, and now they're gonna play the winner of this series. In this series, the Clippers versus the Nuggets. Now this series is going back and forth between these two teams. Like I said, there's a lot of firepower here. This is one of my favorite series that I'm watching in the West. Like in that last game, what was it? I think the Nuggets? Aaron Gordon of the Nuggets, he had a buzzer beater dunk with 0.1 seconds or something like that. I think Jokic just tried to throw it up, and then he dunked it. Now I don't know if you guys think. Do you think he actually did it before time ran out? I don't know. Like it looked very, very close. So, but in that last game, Jokic, he finished with 36, 21, and 8, which is out of that man is. And the crazy thing is about Jokic is literally out there coaching as well. He's the player and he's the coach, because I'm watching him in this game. He's moving players around. He's asking for subs. He's subbing players in and stuff like that. So I thought honestly with this series, it's gonna be a lot. It's a lot of stress on Jokic for sure. And just seeing this series play out, it looks like the Nuggets are starting to find their groove again, even with firing their head coach and stuff like that. So this series is out of this world, y'all. Now this next series, Now this is shocking. This is like I was not expecting this. But the Minnesota Timberwolves versus the Lakers series, I really thought this. I know you said it yourself, and I thought I kind of got where you were coming from too. And I thought we all thought the Lakers, finally they understood this. They understood everything now, and I thought they were gonna come and really play a little bit better. But the Timberwolves are up 3-1 on the Lakers. Man, Ant-Man is. Oof. Anthony Edwards, man, he's picking off where he left off last year in the first round after they swept Kevin Durant and the Phoenix Suns last year, and now he's looking to finish off LeBron James and Luka in 5 games. Also, Anthony Edwards, he had 43 points yesterday, y'all. 43. Luka had 38. This last game, also by the way, was the first playoff game in playoff game history in the NBA where 5 players played an entire half. Now, I don't know what I was wondering myself, but I think because how close the game really was, JJ Redick just didn't have any room to make any type of substitution. He had to keep the best guys on the court. So Dalton Connect and company, all those folks were riding on the bench the whole second half. So they had no substitutions that entire second half, and they were up by as much as 8 points. But what is it? Ant and company, they stormed back and they finished off the Lakers in this game. So and he also contested, what was it? I think it was Austin Reeves. He had the last shot to try to tie the game, and I think Ant had a part in that, in contesting that shot. So the Timberwolves look to finish off the Lakers, y'all. What is it? Is it tomorrow? I believe tomorrow's be the next game they play. Next time they're gonna play, let's see, April 30th. What day is it today? Oh, so they got so in the next 2 days, y'all, the Timberwolves look to finish off the Lakers, and I think the Lakers were a lot of people's favorites to make the NBA Finals. So we got to see what LeBron got left in the tank. How many minutes did LeBron play? Noah, did he play 45 minutes? Damn. But that's what happened with that series right there. So the next series, though, what is it? It's the Rockets versus Warriors. Now this is like the upset series that could really happen to the Rockets, because like I said, with the Warriors having so much experience and the Rockets being a younger team, Steph in this game 3, he had 36 points in the win. The last minute of the game was very tough to watch for the Rockets because Fred VanVleet, he struggled in those final minutes against the Warriors. And like I said, in that fourth quarter, the experience was really showing between these two teams. And so just seeing like I said, the Rockets, they struggled. They struggled in this game for sure against the Golden State Warriors, y'all. And that wraps up for the West. Now let's go over to the East. And tonight we have the Cavs versus the Heat. And this whole series has truly been just pure dominance from the Cleveland Cavaliers. They play tonight, like I said, and what looks like it's going to be a sweep in the air. I thought I could possibly see the Heat probably stealing a game or so. And I think, what was it? Was it Darius Garland, I believe it was? Darius Garland who went on and said, oh, what do you think? How could you finish off the Heat? Is basically just, picking on Tyler Hero offensively. And like I said, they play tonight. Even without Darius Garland, they are taking care of business with Evan Mobley. And Donovan Mitchell, even in that last game, he did not have a good shooting day at all by any stretch or means. But they still got, I think they're just too much. They got too much firepower over there in Cleveland as opposed to the Heat. So again, the Heat were the first team to make the playoffs as a 10th seed, and like I said, I did think it was just more as a participation trophy for them. And so I think the Cavs take care of business tonight, and they get the sweep, and they can relax and get ready for the next series for sure. Now, the most shocking out of all the series, even the Wolves series, I think, is this Pacers versus Bucks. Now, y'all, the Pacers, they have a commanding 3-1 lead over the Bucks. And you know what, y'all? I as soon as I seen him go down, y'all, and it looked the same as when Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles over in for the Jets on opening weekend 2 years ago. Seeing that happen to Damian Lillard, and it's been confirmed that Damian Lillard tore his Achilles, and now just seeing that happen to him, it's I I think, and he's just getting back from, what was it? He was getting back from something with his shoulder. What was it, Noah? Do you remember what?
Blood clot.
It was a blood clot. Oh yeah, a blood clot in his shoulder. And seeing that happen to him, he was trying to battle back, and he wasn't playing his best ball by any means. Anyways, like I said, he was trying to battle from that injury, and just seeing the Pacers just completely dominate the Bucks in this game. And one player in particular, Miles Turner. Man, that Miles Turner was dominating the Bucks. More specifically, he was dominating. What was it? Giannis. Like Giannis was. What was it? He was posting up Giannis. He got a nice block on Giannis late in the fourth, or late in the third quarter as well against him. And so Miles Turner, and even look, and he got voted the most overrated player. Tyrese Halliburton. He had a double-double of 17 points and 15 assists. So I think this is probably the most physical game in the East in terms of like their emotions, because I think after almost every play, every whistle blown, you see players getting in each other's face. Tyrese Halliburton chirping back and forth with players, and then the refs were just throwing out texts like they were not playing. They were not playing with this series because they understand the level of emotions and intensity going on to this game. And again, the Pacers are up 3-1, and Giannis just lost Damian. He just lost Damian Lillard. So, I don't, like I said, I made a prediction that, I don't think it's not more so, and let me just rephrase my comment. I don't mean that the Bucks will move on from Giannis. I think more so it's Giannis will move on from the Bucks. But I talked to Noah a little bit about it. I think he has a lot of loyalty, I feel like, in terms of a player, and I don't think he would do that to the Bucks. But at the same time, they don't have a play. He needs help. He needs help over there, and Indiana just seems to be kind of overwhelming him and that team as a whole. So what the hell is Doc Rivers doing? So, like I said, that's probably the most shocking series so far because, like I said, the Pacers are dominating the Bucks. But my next series, which is one of my favorites out the East, is the Knicks versus Pistons. Now that Game 4 was out of this world. Like, first of all, I think it was in that fourth quarter. Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns, they outscored Detroit in the fourth quarter alone, and then in that first game, in that game itself, Jalen Brunson had 32 points, and Karl Anthony Towns had 27. He was dominating. He was dominating the Pistons. I mean, Cade finished up with a triple double, y'all. Like Cade Cunningham, he did what he had to do, and it just wasn't enough. I mean, there was a controversial no call at the end of the game. I don't know. It kind of looked like, what was it? He kind of looked like he bumped into. He got bumped into, but I don't know. Did you watch that last half of that game, Noah? Or that last second shot? What do you think about that? Do you think that was a foul or anything like that? No, I don't know. It seemed pretty. It was close, but and so what is it? The Knicks, they're up 3-1 against the Pistons right now, and it looks like the experience of the Knicks might take over Detroit, unfortunately, and it's overwhelming the Pistons as well. And like I said, Cat, I think it was such a good move for Cat to leave Minnesota and then branch out to go to New York because he is, like I said, I still think he's a defensive liability for this team, but on the offensive side of the ball, they're doing their thing. And then the last game to wrap up the NBA playoff updates is this Magic versus Celtics series. I did predict that the Magic they did steal a game versus the Celtics, but I think overall though they play tomorrow, and I think the Celtics probably will wrap up this series for sure. Paolo's doing all he can, and I think just battling all these injuries on that team as well. They don't have enough firepower, I think, to squeeze out. Maybe they could probably maybe try to squeeze out another win. I can't see it. I don't see it possibly happening. I think the Celtics will take care of business tomorrow and go on to the next round. So, and y'all, with all that being said now, that's going to wrap up this episode of This Week in Sports. It is your host, Romeo Sharp, like I said. I want to get you guys' thoughts and opinions on, the NFL draft. Give me your thoughts on the Shedeur Sanders situation going on. What do you guys think his future is in Cleveland? Do you think he's going to be a starter? Do you think he probably won't even make a roster by day one? But do you think he's overrated? Maybe. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think about these NBA playoff games, and what do you think the Lakers will do from moving forward? What about the Bucks as well? So. Like I said, y'all, thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your week.